Hello and welcome to another episode of Live with Chef Heff. Today we're going to be making a cheesy bacon meatloaf. I've made a meatloaf on here once before. It's turned out pretty good, but I saw this recipe for this kind of meatloaf and it looked even better. So decided to add my own little touch on it and see what happens. So basically everything here is going to be going into the meatloaf mix. I tried to buy meatloaf mix, but the store didn't have it, so I'm using ground beef, pork, and lamb, not veal because I didn't have any, so should be interesting. Gonna mix all that up, put some breadcrumbs on it, some eggs, some Parmesan hidden back there, and mix that up, and then see what happens. You're going to turn the oven on 350 for 45 minutes. That's all it's take to cook this. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is going to set this at 350 to preheat. Then we're going to put all the ingredients into this bowl, sorry. That goes in there. That's the lamb. This is the ground beef. And this is the pork. It's about a pound of each, I hope. Put that in. Then we're going to put in 3 eggs. A packet of Lipton onion soup mix. Then some onions. A lot of onions. A lot of meat, so a lot of onions. Nice portion of breadcrumbs to bind it. And some mustard. Never used mustard for this, but this was part of the recipe. And we're going to use a little bit of grated cheese, help with the binding. And then what you're going to do is just mix it. Mix it with your hands, mix it with a spoon, whatever you want to do. I'm going to mix it with my hands. So I'll be right back. So now that the meatloaf is thoroughly mixed, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bacon. We're going to spread it across the pan and then put half of the meatloaf in and see how that works. So let's try that. So now that the pound and a half of bacon is layered across the whole pan, what we're going to do is we're going to take half of the meatloaf and spread it on the bottom, and then we're going to add the cheese, the tomatoes, the pickles, then put the other half on, and then fold the bacon over and then cook it that way. So let's see how this works. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these little cheese balls, just shove them in the meatloaf. As best you can. It's going to be covered with the meatloaf anyway, so it doesn't have to be fully put down. That's what was it, 3? So about 7 of those meatballs, 7 of those cheese balls. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the tomatoes and pickles, put it around, and then put more meatloaf on top, then fold over the bacon. So I used half sour pickles and vine ripe tomatoes, about 3 of each. Probably not going to need that much, but we'll see. Generous portions all over the place. Got nothing else to do with it. Just cover the cheese, I guess. Probably should have used a bigger pan, but whatever. Alright, so that should be good enough for that. Then we're going to pour the rest of the meatloaf on top of it, and then have the bacon wrapped. Okay, so the rest of the meatloaf is on. Now we're just gonna wrap the. Now we're gonna wrap it with the bacon. So you just take the bacon, just fold it over each side. I originally said cook it at 350 because that's what the recipe called for, but this is a lot of meat, so I jacked it up to 400 because I don't know if 350 is going to be enough to cook this for 45 minutes. By the way, if this is if you're on a diet, this might not be the thing for you to eat. Just saying. So just fold them over. It should be nice and almost fully wrapped. I used a store brand thick cut because I didn't know how much I was going to use, so I don't know how much I was going to need. So, okay, so this is what it looks like before it's cooked. Like I said, I made it to 400 instead of 350. Pretty sure the bacon's going to cook it more inside, but better have it fully cooked than raw. So we're going to wait till 400 degrees, and we're going to put it in the oven for 45 minutes. Okay, so it's in the oven. I'm going to leave it there for 45 minutes, and hopefully it works out well. So a little update on the meatloaf. When you're making something with bacon in the oven, make sure it's folded inside. Don't put it over the pot and pan because it gets greasy and pours down onto the bottom. It gets very smoky. So try and make it to where bacon is on the bottom, covered, not overflowing. So the recipe called for 350 for 45 minutes, but I had to put the baking sheet down under it, to prevent the grease from falling. So I'm going to give it another 10-15 minutes, make sure that everything's cooked inside. So this looks pretty cooked. Now I'm just going to add a little extra touch on it. I'm going to put a little cheese on top, because you can never have too much cheese, I guess. Sprinkle it all over there, right on top, because it ain't hitting the sides. Just put that on there. Put this in for another 5 minutes or so. And you should have a nicely insane meatloaf. So now it looks pretty done. There you have it. A nice cheesy bacon wrapped, more cheesy meatloaf. I'm gonna let this cool down for a bit and cut into it and see what it looks like inside. So just hold on. Okay, so we let it sit for about 10 minutes. I'm just gonna cut it open in the middle, see what it looks like. See if I need to put it in for some longer time. It's so juicy, I really can't even tell. Hold on a second. Actually, it looks pretty good. So there you have it. This is a very large meatloaf with bacon, tomatoes, pickles, onions, and a lot of cheese. Brought to you by Chef HEFF. Hope you enjoy it. If you did, like, comment, and share on the page. And have a good day. Thank you.